Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to tackle one of those problems. You know the one. It's a special kind of frustration that hits everyone working through the Kioptrix labs where you think you're on the right track, but the machine just refuses to play ball.
Okay, let's just dive right into this crazy scenario. So you found the target's IP address, right? You punch it into your browser and boom, the homepage loads. Looks great. But then you go to click on a link, you try to find the login page, anything useful, and it's all completely broken. What is going on? So if you're seeing these symptoms, the main page works but nothing else does, your scans on port 80 are coming back kind of empty, you've officially fallen into what's called the hostname trap. And this isn't a sign to just enumerate harder. It's a sign that you need to send the server the right name.
Now the good news? The fix for this is incredibly fast. We're talking like a 60-second fix. It all comes down to editing one single file on your attack machine, and I promise you it's going to be a real aha moment that completely changes how you see the target. Okay, so for Kali Linux, or really any Linux system, all you got to do is open up the /atc/hosts file. You'll need root privileges, so use sudo. Then you just add one line. That's it. The target's IP address, a space, and the host name Kioptrix3.com. Save it, and you're done.
Now this slide right here highlights an absolutely crucial point, one that trips a lot of people up. You have to edit the hosts file on the machine that's actually making the requests. So if you're running all your tools from your Kali VM, edit Kali's hosts file. If you're just browsing from your Windows or Mac host machine, you have to edit that system's hosts file.
And this quote just perfectly captures that mistake. The person who wrote the source material shared a story about editing the hosts file on their Mac, but then they kept running all their scans from their Kali VM. It's like leaving a note on the wrong fridge and wondering why no one saw it. It perfectly illustrates why that simple rule is so important.
So the big question is, why does this even work? How can editing a simple text file have such a huge impact? Well, let's pull back the curtain and get into the mechanics of it. This is where it stops feeling like magic and starts making a whole lot of sense.
It's all because of a super common web server feature called virtual hosts. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like an apartment building. The building has one street address. That's your IP address. But inside, there are tons of different mailboxes for all the different tenants. The host name is what tells the server which specific mailbox you're trying to reach. And this isn't some weird lab trick. This is how a huge chunk of the real internet actually works.
And this comparison chart makes it crystal clear. When you send a request using just the IP, the server has no clue which website you want, so it just gives you the generic default lobby page. But when you use the host name, the server knows exactly which mailbox to open and serves you the real application. It's a night and day difference.
So how does the server know which site you want? It's not magic, and it's not looking up some public DNS record. It's actually much simpler. Your web browser, or any tool like curl, sends a little piece of information called a host header with every single request it makes. That header is what tells the server, hey, I think I'm visiting Kioptrix3.com. And the server uses that to route you to the correct virtual host.
Awesome. So now we've got the fix, and we understand why it works. But let's talk about a couple of other common headaches that can pop up and make you think the fix isn't working when it actually is. We're talking about your virtual network settings and, of course, caching.
I'm telling you, the #1 time waster in virtual labs is a network mismatch. For a self-contained environment like Kioptrix, just set both your Kali machine and the Kioptrix machine to host only. It creates a simple, private little network just for them. It's predictable, and it just completely eliminates a whole category of, is this thing even plugged in problem?
Oh man, have you ever been in this situation? It is maddening. You know you put the fix in correctly. You've checked it 3 times, but your browser is just stubbornly showing you that old broken site, acting like you've done nothing at all.
So the culprit here is almost always caching. Your browser is trying to be helpful by remembering the old bad information. So before you start questioning reality, just run through these quick steps. Honestly, the fastest check is just to open a new private or incognito window. That trick alone solves this problem 9 times out of 10.
Okay, so to avoid all that frustration and wasted time, let's start thinking like a pro. And that means using a simple little checklist to prove that our setup is working correctly before we unleash the big, time-consuming tools.
This 4-step process is basically your proof. First, you check if your own system can resolve the name to the right IP. Then, you check if you can actually reach the web server using that name. And finally, This is the key. You prove that the server is treating the hostname differently than the IP. This confirms, without a doubt, that it's using virtual hosts.
And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Trust packets, not checkboxes. Your virtualization software's little GUI might have a green light and say connected, but these command line checks show you what's actually happening on the network. They are the ground truth.
And you have to remember, this isn't just a browser thing. This concept is absolutely critical for all of your tools. If you point GoBuster or Nikto or SQL map at just the IP address, you are scanning a ghost. You're going to miss everything important on the real application.
I mean, just look at the impact here. Scanning the IP gives you a complete false negative. It's a total waste of your time. But targeting the correct host name unlocks the actual attack surface. This is literally the difference between finding nothing and owning the box.
So, what's the big picture here? After going through all of this, what's the one crucial thing you should take away from this explainer?
This whole problem feels super frustrating until you finally understand the mechanics. But once you do, it stops being a roadblock. It actually becomes a valuable diagnostic tool you can use in future labs and even on real-world engagements. You're not guessing anymore, you're just reading the server's instructions.
So here's a powerful next step I want you to take. It'll take you maybe 15 minutes. Go apply the fix we just talked about. Run those 4 verification checks to prove to yourself that it's working, and then run a brand new directory scan and compare it against your old attempt that only used the IP address.
You'll see the difference immediately, right there on your screen. And that feeling of seeing it work, of understanding why it works, that's what turns a frustrating dead end into a clear path forward.
Ultimately, this whole experience is just a great reminder to constantly question our basic assumptions. Thanks for joining this explainer. Now you can get back to hacking Kioptrix with a whole lot more confidence.